Today, I want to talk about the topic around which there are a huge number of myths, fears, and misconceptions. What drinks really help lower the level blood sugar in diabetes? What can you do? Drinking without harm to health, and what is better? Exclude it completely? And most importantly, how is this do the right thing so as not to cause harm yourself? Stay with me until the end. I promise you'll find out what they're not telling you. Even in popular medical programs. Let's start with the main thing. When a person finds out that he has high sugar, is the first thought which arises. It is urgently needed. Give up sugar and switch to sweeteners. Sounds familiar, right? But here lies the first big mistake. Many people don't realize that. Not every sugar substitute is safe, and not every one of them really increases sugar levels. Moreover, manufacturers often actively do this. They take advantage of people's ignorance. Look at the packaging. Without no added sugar, natural product fructose. Sounds convincing, right? And now pay attention. Fructose, maltose, starch, molasses, corn syrup. All these are essentially the same carbohydrates that in the same way they raise sugar levels in blood. It's just not technically sugar, and so you can safely write on the label sugar-free. But our body doesn't distinguish where this sugar came from beets, honey, or cane. Everything for him, it's the same. Glucose, which means the reaction will be the same. It will rise sugar. The load on will increase pancreas, thirst will increase, and fatigue. So that you understand, even a glass of natural fructose drink capable of giving a sugar spike no worse than a spoonful of regular sugar. And if such drink drinks regularly, you can forget about sugar stabilization. And now ask yourself, how many times you bought the product only because does it say sugar-free? Write in comments. I'll be interested. How often were you introduced to misleading labels? But not everything is like that. Badly. There are sugar substitutes that they really don't increase the level sugar, and these are the ones you should choose. This is, for example, stevia. Natural plant extract, sweet, but contains virtually no calories. There are also erythritol. It's a little high in calories, but its effect on sugar levels is negligible. You can also use Fit Parade, a combination of natural substitutes, safe for diabetics. And here it is important to dispel one very persistent myth. Many are afraid of artificial sweeteners because they supposedly cause cancer. But science says otherwise. Yes, indeed, there were studies on rats where giant doses of erythritol were used and negative effects were observed in animals. But for a person, these doses are simply unrealistic. According to modern data, erythritol and stevia are categorized probable carcinogens. And you know what else is there? Sunlight and aloe vera juice. In other words, the risks are so small that are comparable to ordinary life. Therefore, if you choose drinks with stevia or erythrite, you can rest assured. They will increase sugar and will not harm to the body. But there is a nuance here too, which few people talk about. Often in the internet is full of scary stories about sugar substitutes cause an insulin response. As if the body reacts to the sweet taste and secretes insulin even when there is no glucose. It sounds scary, but it's actually myth. Insulin only increases when glucose enters the blood, and the sweet taste on the tongue itself is not at all unable to start this process. You can at least put some drops on your tongue syrup. If you don't swallow it, the sugar level in the blood won't change. It's simple. No glucose. There is no response. And yet, despite this, remember, you shouldn't abuse even safe sugar substitutes. Why? Because they can enhance cravings for sweets. The body remembers the taste sugar and will ask for it again and again. And that means it's not just important to replace sugar and gradually reduce, there is a need for it. What about popular diabetic drinks, which promise a miraculous reduction sugar? There's a catch here too, and I'll tell you about it in the next part. Many are you sure that if it is written on the bottle for diabetics or those with low blood pressure sugar content, then you can drink it without restrictions. But it is precisely these drinks most often become the cause of sharp glucose surges. Why? It's simple. Manufacturers are replacing sugar with other ingredients. Carbohydrates, which are not at all effective, no better. For example, maltodextrin, a popular component of fitness drinks. Sweet dissolves instantly, and the glycemic index is higher than that of sugar. That is, it raises sugar even faster. So if you see this ingredient in the composition, feel free to put the product back on the shelf. It's important to learn to read the ingredients. Don't pay attention to the capital letters on the front of the package. Sugar-free 0% natural. See fine print, where the ingredients are listed. And if there are any fructose, maltose, syrup, this is the same sugar, just under a different name. I often tell my patients, the body doesn't read labels. He reacts to that, what actually gets into the blood. And this is absolutely true. By the way, please share comments. Have you ever checked the composition of the drinks you buy, or do you believe the advertising on the packaging? Your answers will help us understand how much we trust marketing. Now let's move on to what indeed you can and should drink. But first of all, I want to dwell on one very common mistake: packaged juices. Even if they say 100% juice, it doesn't mean there is no sugar in it. In most cases, they add their concentrates, and sometimes syrups for enhancement of flavor. As a result, a glass this juice contains more sugar than soda. Yes, you heard right, more than Coca-Cola. If you want a fruity flavor, choose not juice and the fruit itself. In general, fruits diabetes is not prohibited, it is just necessary. Understand the limits. 2 fists is about daily intake of fruits. But in here everything is not so simple, because not everyone fruits have the same effect on level sugar. There are some that don't contain any fructose at all. A little bit, and they fit perfectly even those who have type 2 diabetes. This is avocado, cranberry, raspberry, strawberry, grapefruit, currant, kiwi. And here's sweet pears and grapes must be careful. There's a lot of fructose in there, and sugar levels may spike. Why? Is fruit better than juice? It's all about fiber. When we drink juice, fiber crushed or removed completely, and this means that sugar is absorbed instantly, giving a sharp jump in glucose. When will we eat the whole fruit, the fiber slows down the process of absorption and sugar enters blood gradually. It's safe, especially if you control the level sugar using a glucometer, so that it would be. To make it clearer, I'll give you an example. A glass apple juice, that's about 3 to 4 apples. It's easy to drink the juice, but it's hard to eat. It's already difficult to get so many apples. That's why we get much more from drinks fructose than we think. My advice, eat fruits, but drink water. Don't replace one to others. And one more point, which it's worth paying attention to. In case of diabetes, the problem of excess weight often arises. Many patients wonder, why am I? Do I gain weight if I don't eat sweets? Answer simple. Excess carbohydrates can come from drinks. They high in calories, but not filling. Therefore, it is important to monitor not only what you eat, but also what you drink. Have you noticed that your weight is standing still? Despite the efforts, try within. I write down everything I drink for weeks. I'm sure you'll be surprised how many hidden there are calories there. Now pay attention. In the next part, we will figure out what drinks can really be considered safe for diabetics, and which ones they can even improve well-being. When it comes to what you can still drink it if you have diabetes, most people are lost. Some are afraid. Coffee, others exclude tea, others, we are sure that clean water is boring. Let's sort this out calmly and scientifically. Let me start with the good news. Coffee, tea, and even caffeinated drinks don't increase sugar level. Provided, of course, that you don't add sugar, honey, or milk. Coffee itself does not cause glucose surges. Moreover, studies show that moderate drinking coffee may even reduce risk of developing type 2 diabetes thanks to antioxidants and special substances that improve sensitivity cells to insulin. Therefore, if you love coffee, drink it calmly and simply. Do it wisely. Physiological. The norm is cups a day. If you drink bucket, then it will not be the sugar that suffers, but heart. Everything should be in moderation. What A's for tea? Green and black tea diabetes is not only allowed, but also are useful. They contain polyphenols, which help the vessels to remain elastic and reduce inflammation. The main thing is, don't add sugar and don't turn tea into dessert. Better put it a slice of lemon or a mint leaf. Taste will become more saturated and more beneficial. Now about a drink that is undeservedly is considered boring. Water. You know what the drink is actually the best for diabetic? Regular clean water. It doesn't contain calories, does not affect sugar, and helps the body cope with dehydration, which often accompanies elevated glucose levels. After all, when there is a lot of sugar, the body loses fluid through frequent urination. As a result, fatigue appears, dry skin, headache. Simple water helps restore balance and improve overall well-being. Many people say, "But I don't like the taste water, it is fresh." It's a matter of habit. Try adding a little lemon, a piece of cucumber, or a sprig of mint. After a few days, the body will get used to it and you will be surprised. How nice is it to drink regular water? Cool water. By the way, write in the comments, how much water do you usually drink? You drink per day. Let's check if there is among the spectators or those who fulfill the norm at least 2 liters of O-Sepplers. Now the important thing. The topic is alcohol. If you've been following for a long time my materials, then you already know my attitude. With diabetes, alcohol is taboo. Why? It's not just that it contains carbohydrates. Alcohol disrupts the functioning of the liver, which is responsible for production and processing of glucose. When you drink, carbohydrate synthesis in the liver is blocked. If you accepted hypoglycemic drugs, maybe hypoglycemia may occur, which is dangerous a condition when sugar drops sharply. After a few hours, when the alcohol stops working, the liver tries to compensate for the shortage and throws it out blood has more sugar. As a result, you get a swing. At first, the level is low sugar, then a sharp jump up. And that's it. This is accompanied by a load on the vessels, brain, and heart. And most importantly, alcohol does not make a person healthier, but a diabetic especially so. So please don't look for it. There is benefit in it. It's not relaxation, it's risk. Now let's look at another one. A myth that is actively circulating the internet. Everywhere they write that you need to drink ginger, turmeric, cinnamon. Supposedly, they lower sugar levels. Sounds nice, but is it true? The short answer is no. None of these products have any effect directly on insulin production, and not is able to remove excess glucose from blood. Yes, they contain useful substances, vitamins, antioxidants. They can improve metabolism, slightly reduce inflammation, but not reduce sugar. If only cinnamon really could lower sugar levels, then diabetes. The first type would have been treated long ago, insulin, but spices. Of course, if you like these flavors, use them. Ginger and cinnamon can be great addition to tea, kefir drink, or dishes, but don't take them as medicine. Sometimes patients say, "Doctor, I'm drinking cinnamon and I have sugar became lower." In fact, everything is simple. You stopped eating sweets and drinking drinks with carbohydrates? That's why my sugar levels dropped. The point is not in cinnamon, but in the diet. Therefore, remember this simple formula. If the drink does not contain carbohydrates, it does not increase sugar. Everything else is myths and marketing. And yet, if you take away all these wonderful funds, how can we really help then? Yourself with diabetes, what should you do? To stabilize sugar levels without medications and marathon diets. This is in next part. When a person faced with diabetes, the first wish, find a magic remedy. A drink, grass, spice, anything, just not change habits. But my friends, it is precisely this is where the biggest mistake lies. No drink by itself is capable of stabilized sugar levels. This is physiologically impossible. Insulin is the only substance that lowers blood glucose levels. No cinnamon, no turmeric, no lemon, no apple cider vinegar won't do that. If it was all so simple, we would treat diabetes with a spoonful of seasoning, not with drugs. But our body is more complex. Sugar decreases when cells begin use energy correctly, not when we drink something miraculous. Therefore, all magical advice from the internet needs to be filtered. Yes, spices are healthy. Yes, herbs contain vitamins, but this is a supplement, not treatment. The main thing is nutrition, movement, and body weight control. By the way, write in the comments, what folk methods have you tried to reduce sugar? I wonder how much of it did they really work. Now let's talk about something simple, but the most reliable drink in water. I already mentioned it earlier, but I want to emphasize that this is not just a source of liquid. For people with water plays a therapeutic role in diabetes role. High sugar levels cause increased fluid excretion from body. This leads to dehydration, thickening of the blood, and additional stress on the heart and kidneys. When you drink sufficient amount of water, blood becomes less viscous, improves circulation, easier to control blood pressure and sugar levels. Remember, lack of water can be disguised as hunger. Sometimes a person thinks that he wants there is, but in fact, he is just experiencing thirst. Try it next time when, if you want to have a snack, drink a glass of water. Often this is enough to make the feeling hunger has disappeared. Now let's get back to the main question. What to do to have your sugar stabilized? First of all, if you are overweight, be sure to start by lowering it. This is foundation. Even a loss of 5 to 7 kg is capable significantly improve sensitivity cells to insulin. Secondly, physical activity. No need for marathons or gyms. 30-40 is enough minutes of walking a day, light gymnastics, swimming. The main thing is regularity. Third, nutrition. Eliminate fast food. Carbohydrates. Reduce the amount processed foods. Add vegetables, proteins, healthy fats. I know it sounds simple, but it is the simple steps that give real result. In my practice, I saw dozens of patients who, we normalized our sugar levels in a few months just by changing your lifestyle. No miracles drinks, without expensive additives. If you feel that you are on your own, it's hard to cope. That's normal. It's important don't stop. You can contact a specialist who will help you create a nutrition program and select the activity level. The main thing is to act. And please don't waste time searching for the secret recipe. The more you look for easy ways, the further away from the real solution. Health is a process, not a miracle. Now let's sum it up. Everything that does not contain sugar or carbohydrates, it's safe. This is water, tea, coffee without additives. Anything sweet, even natural, requires control. Drink enough water, don't believe the loud promises on the packaging, and always use common sense. And remember, the best drink for a diabetic is ordinary clean water. It's not just quenches your thirst, it helps the body to recover, reduce load, and feel lighter. If you watch to the end, write in the word water in the comments. Let's see. How many of us are there who have chosen consciously? Approach. Don't forget to subscribe and like this. It helps me. Understand that such topics are for you, are really needed. Take care of yourself and remember, health is not about prohibitions, but a conscious choice every day. And here, now that we've sorted out what drinks are safe and what can be dangerous, I want to bring you to the very essence question. Why is it so important not to look for easy solutions? Because diabetes is not a disease that can be dealt with in one action. This is a state requiring a systematic approach. And if you understood this, then you have already done the first one step to take control of your health. Many of my patients, when they come to see me, say, "Doctor, I've tried everything. I'm drinking cinnamon, I give up sweets, but the sugar is still high." And then we start to analyze the food, regime, activity level. And it turns out that a person does not notice the obvious mistakes. For example, he drinks a lot of sweets, yogurts, eats diet bars with fructose, adds healthy honey to tea. It all seems harmless, but in practice, it gives the same jump in sugar that and a spoonful of sugar. That's why I repeat, read the ingredients and don't trust them. Advertising, but knowledge. Marketing is created to sell, not to treat. They can write anything they want on the label, but you can't fool your body. Sometimes I hear, "Doctor," but there is natural products, which means naturalness is not always means safety. The poison of the fly agaric too natural. Origin isn't the important thing. Product and its effect on metabolism substances. If you want to really improve well-being, start with the simple. Create a habit of drinking clean water. Let this be your base, and then add everything else consciously. Green tea, coffee, mineral water without gas. All this is possible, but with a sense of proportion. One more thing. The temperature of the drinks. Very hot or very cold liquids irritate the gastric mucosa and can cause pressure surges. Better choose moderately warm or cool drinks. This will help you avoid unnecessary stress. For blood vessels. Now pay attention. A little secret. If you want to help your body to cope with sugar, for more effective results, drink water in small portions throughout the day. Not all at once. The body is not capable of absorb large volumes at once. When you drink often and little by little, it is supported normal water balance, decreases appetite, and metabolism are stabilized. And one more useful tip. Keep an eye on the color of urine. It is an excellent indicator of hydration. If the color is too dark, you drink little. If it's almost clear, so there's enough water. Sounds simple, but it's these little things that make the difference a person who manages diabetes from someone who lives in constant struggle with him. Many people ask the question, "Doctor, is it possible to cure diabetes at all?" I'll answer honestly. Type 2 diabetes can be controlled so much so effectively that it will stop bothering you to live. But for this, you don't need to search miracles, but to act systematically. Reduction weight, proper nutrition, physical activity, and sufficient quantity water, the 4 pillars of your health. And of course, you should see a doctor, even if you feel well. Tests once a week, several months are necessary. Diabetes is insidious in that it may not work for a long time, give symptoms, but at this time destroys blood vessels, eyes, kidneys. Prevention is always easier than cure. Now write in the comments what from today's information has become for you the most unexpected. I read your answers, and it is they who help me choose topics for the next issues. I know that the path it's not fast to health, but it's absolutely real if you go step by step. Every glass of water, every conscious food choices, every refusal of sweet soda is a small victory, which folds into a large result. Remember, there are no bad ones. Products, there are bad habits, and if you learn to listen to your body, he will definitely answer you with gratitude. Take care of yourself, drink water, move, and don't forget sugar can be kept under control if you control yourself, not the other way around.